Alrighty guys, welcome back to Project Intent. I'm super excited about this tag team episode because as you know, I just had the privilege of sitting down and talking to Tuesday, also known as Tuesday Night Swim, but today he goes by Tuesday. He is the host of the Highly Emotional podcast. He's a creative out here and he's just a human operating in his highest, right?
Facts.
Constantly, day by day. So appreciate you for coming through.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it.
Thank you for receiving me.
Thank you for being received.
Yeah.
Thank you for your input, man. The thing about Tuesday is the way that we even got together was just a series of alignment.
Facts.
So I'm excited to just get the juice and give it to the people because we got some exciting things we're gonna cover. I have no idea what it is, but we're gonna go and find out as we do.
You align. I mean, you can't control it. You just gotta go with it.
Facts.
So, yeah.
Tuesday, so I have a question for you. So we know, you're creative.
Yes.
We know that you have your own podcast, all these things, but did you know that this was the path that was gonna unfold for you?
That's a great question. So when I was younger, I've always been very empathic. I always thought that was a weak emotion. It's a long story, but I'm gonna get to the point, right?
Okay.
So I've always been emotional. I would always be empathic in nature. When I was in 7th grade, one of my teachers had told my mom, she was like, he's gonna grow up to be a pastor. I'm thinking I'm not gonna be no pastor. I don't like how they dress. You know what I'm saying? It'd be simple stuff like that. No, I'm not about to do that. And then I started doing music. And with music, one thing that I have always known as far as consistency is that anytime I speak my truth, dealing with depression, somebody is connected to it and it affects their life. I've had people, like I said, I've tried to stop doing music so many times in my life, but then the creator, God, the universe, whatever you want to say, it aligns and someone sends me a message and they're like, this song just saved my life. I don't know when you dropped it. I don't know who you are, but this song has saved my life, has changed my life. And so that kind of been the consistency far as telling my story, speaking my message. But then recently I was sitting down with one of my homies and we're just having a regular conversation. And he was like, bro, I'm gonna be honest with you. Something is telling me that you need to start speaking to people. You need to just talk to people about your life, about the things that you went through because it's authentic and you're gonna save people's life. So I was like, I sat on it for a couple months and I just was like, I'm gonna do it. Even through my music, I always had this idea that I'm supposed to be doing something great that's gonna change the world. But it was never I'm doing music to be famous or get money or have jewelry, or it was never that. It was the fact that I wanted people to listen to my music and it changed the way that they view the world. If you're going through something depressing, it could save you from trying to kill yourself. So even though I'm stepping into a podcast space, the story is the same.
Yeah.
I'm not your savior. I'm just an example to show you that you can make it through depression.
Yeah.
You can make it through all that fucked up shit. Sorry for cussing. But all that fucked up shit in your life, you can make it through it. I made it through it. Do I have any idea how? Fuck no. I don't know. There's no left, right. I can't tell you. The only thing I can say is that I got through it.
Yeah.
Time. I tried to kill myself. I tried to give up. But guess what? I'm here.
Yeah.
And now my mind state is I cannot afford to die. I gotta live. And operating out of my true spirit is the best thing that I can do when it comes to understanding life. That's it.
Yeah.
So that's how you got to where I'm at, the podcast guy now.
I love that.
But I do music too. Check out the music.
Nah, he's fire. He's fire. And we were kind of clowning around earlier about wokeness,
Facts.
wokeism, we are conscious beings. I believe that everybody is here, operating on their level, right? And you can continue to transcend and drop, and it's not a linear thing. But it's what's for you is for you, and right? I love how you were saying you didn't know that you knew this is what it was, but you didn't know how, right? I always hammer the fact that the how doesn't matter. Because it doesn't matter, right? It's if you want something and you believe that that is your calling, I don't think that anything is placed in your heart in vain, right? So see it through. And you were saying, we all have a you felt like you had a responsibility to the people to continuously just operate authentically. And it's true. I feel we as humans, we're responsible for a group of, let's say, people that we don't even know about. But it's we have to operate in it's a relay race. It's I don't want to fall behind. You know what I'm saying? And it's not to put the pressure on anybody, but it's like, bro, we are here. From what I know, we live this life one time that we can remember, right? So it's like, this is what I'm conscious of and I want to maximize. So surrounding myself with people who want to do the same thing.
Alignment.
It's interesting. So do you have like any, so I know religion, we talked about religion briefly on yours, but philosophy, like life philosophy, do you have one? Like how do you approach, navigate on the day-to-day?
So my thing is, one is that there's only one creator, right? Which is all, good or bad. None of these things exist. These are simplistic structures that we put on ourselves, but everything is all part of one. I believe that operating out of my truth, doing my best, kind of like the 4 agreements that we talked about, right? Doing my best and giving my all. Obviously, I'm gonna fuck up sometimes, right? That's just how life is. Everything is balanced. You have to have bad things happen in order for good things to play out. So like, I believe that everything is the natural calling of what the creator wants me to do. So even if I'm doing nothing today, just spending time with my kids, that is the divine structure that needed to be happening. And a lot of times we overlook simple tasks, simple things within our life. We overlook them. And so when that gets in the way, we make our life more complicated. And that's why a lot of us feel like we're failing in life, because we feel like we have a bigger purpose, but we don't understand what it's gonna look like. You think that you being rich is gonna look like you having all this money and buying all this stuff, but you being rich could be something else, something more in the spiritual nature or essence of life. So like my theory on life is to see it through.
Okay. Understand
the lesson. If you have to realize everything is a lesson, and if you do not learn the lesson, then you're gonna get stuck in that cycle.
Yeah, the loop.
That loop. Right? And that's what if you've been in abusive relationships your entire life, that's because you still ain't learned the lesson. You fucking with the wrong type of people. You allowing the wrong type of things to affect your life. So in my sense, or the way that I think about it, is 1, you can save yourself. 2, you gotta learn the lesson. And 3, just see it through.
I agree with a lot of that. Like honestly, the loop thing, I can talk about this over and over again, which is a loop in itself, but it's like we are here to learn, right? I feel like we're here on Earth School to really be able to learn and to advance and to elevate, right? I do believe that I believe anything is possible, right? I truly do. I've seen too much to know like that. I know that I don't know a lot, you know what I'm saying? But I'm curious and I'm hungry to learn more. But the more you learn, the more you know. Like you're never gonna know, you know what I'm saying? You're never gonna know, but it's like, see it through. I really feel like I've always had this like intense, I would say, moral compass that's guided me along my way, that's really helped me to navigate, because while the world is telling you one thing, right, it's conformity. Like majority, I don't want to say majority of people, but it seems like in this realm of things, a lot of people feel comfortable to do the same thing. You know that meme that's like, it's fine, I'm fine, everything's fine, and everything's like blowing up in the background? You know what I'm saying? I feel like a lot of people are doing what majority of people are doing, even though it is a mess, but it's comfort in numbers, because we do, not too long ago, we came from the mindset of like, if you're as humans, we had to travel in packs, right? If one person was alone, they were more likely to die. So it's like we have this like group think still embedded in us to like do what the majority do, but that's not necessarily how I want to operate and navigate in this life, right? I really feel like day to day it's an experiment, truly, because I don't know. I want to explore and I want to see what fits with what I got going on, but it can be difficult to like shut the noise out unless you're intentional about your movements on a day-to-day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because basically you're saying you don't want to be affected by the trend of the world. Yeah. In a sense, you want to operate on your own, and that's one thing that can, like, it seems to be like the hardest. That's kind of why, like, with social media, I realized that I have 2 social media. So I have an artist page and then I have the podcast page, but these are 2 different entities. Everything that we create is a different entity. But one thing I realized is that you have to have the strength to be able to control your reality. Back to what we said about everything in every point, that perspective over there is a different reality than over here. So in that sense, this is my way to do them. This ties into what the book that I was just listening to on my way here is Monk Mode.
Monk
right?
mode?
Monk mode. I don't know who it's by. I listen to a lot of like audiobooks. So sometimes they're written by like private writers or something like that. But in monk mode, you pretty much shut the world off. And that's back to what I was saying, is that with us, every conversation that we have, every person that we touch, every interaction, every room, these are different matrices. So we operate differently. We lose our image. So in order to operate in that free realm that you're talking about, the first thing you have to do is be stripped of everything that you know, right? I'm a firm believer in, like, I say it all the time. In order to have a relationship with God, I was stripped of everything that I thought was life at the time.
Yeah.
And then I hit rock bottom. And then I started learning myself. Who am I? What do I like? What is my favorite color? Like, not even just that. Like, what do I like doing? What is simple happiness for me? And I always have to go back and relearn this. But in order to know your true self, your true journey, your true identification, you have to strip every fucking thing off. Be naked again. Start from the bottom. That no TV, no clothes, no cars. See, like, start from the bottom and learn who you are all over again. So a lot of times I believe that what happens within the journey is that we hit rock bottom, but it's just a restart to relearn yourself, because you then got caught up in the trends of the world, or the trend of your relationship, or the trend of your family, or so on and so forth. So
yeah, what I was telling you about the remember that you can forget, it just hits the same. It's like we can, operate and on this high level and then get to where we wanted to go, and we're there now, and we kind of, or I can only speak for me, right, get comfortable, right? And then you find yourself back, or I find myself back where I started. Maybe not exactly where I started, but behind, because I wasn't doing the consistent work to remain, to stay. But you saying, like, in order to know yourself, you have to strip yourself of what you think you know, is true. You have to be able to unlearn. You have to unlearn everything that you've been taught, because you've been taught by outside forces who also really don't know. You know what I'm saying?
what happened to you today?
What you mean?
Where did you fuck up?
What do you mean?
Didn't you fuck up on 75
Oh yeah, that wasn't today. That was yesterday.
Okay, but think about that. There's a lesson to learn within that. Like, we can say, "Oh fuck, I got to do it over," right?
And look at you putting my business out here.
No.
They don't need to know.
You put it on social media, so I brought it up. But I seen that, and the thing about that is there's something so beautiful in that, because now you have an opportunity to learn yourself even more.
Yeah.
Right? 27 days in. The thing about it is, like, these challenges, like I said, I've done keto, I've done no carbs, I fasted for fucking 10 days, I did all this shit, right? But I realized I was doing it to impress the challenge. I wasn't doing it to actually learn about myself. I wasn't doing it to, like, learn who I am through this journey. How does my body feel? How do I feel? Talk to myself. Replace those food habits instead of with I'm not gonna go to the kitchen, or I'm not gonna do this. Replace that with, I'm gonna go read a book. I'm gonna go learn for me. I'm gonna learn about my fucking experience. Like, those are the things that we need to realize when we do these challenges, not the sole fact of, like, I'm fucking up on a challenge. Like, right now, I'm learning me through my, like, stage that I'm going through. I am going through a stage where I want to be in my original form. What I appear ugly, I don't know if you know about XXX Tentacion.
Yeah.
Right? He cut his eyebrows, right? Because he got ugly for the sense of that he had to look demonic, or however we want to put it, in a bad way. But he went through that journey, and then right before he died, he blossomed into something amazing. I don't like talking about celebrities and all that, because that's just not what I'm into. But if you really pay attention, in order to hit that beautiful stage, you have to go through the caterpillar stage, you got to go through the cocoon stage in order to become that.
You got to go through the ugly lock stage. Don't put them in extensions in. That's a cheat.
You got to. You faking it. Like, that's, we want to, Ozempics. We want to do all this fake, trendy ass bullshit.
Can I talk about that real quick? So there's a lot of different points I want to make. With the 75 hard, so for those of you that don't know what it is, I've done this challenge a couple of times. You've completed this challenge as well.
Yeah.
Right? So for 75 days, which is 2.5 months, you're committed to a certain regimen, right? And I'll put the information up here, right? But if you mess up on anything, you have to start all over, right? So it's an accountability program. So for me, on day 27, this is what I learned. I compromised it's not even that I learned, it's that I reminded myself, you can't do this. You can't compromise any pieces of your system and expect for you to flourish. Because all I did was holding. Okay, so what I was saying was you cannot compromise pieces of your system and expect for the ecosystem to function in its totality. So I did everything I needed to do. I had one more workout left. I was filming something and I stayed longer than I needed to, right? And I could have left, I really could have left, but I stayed to get it done. Whatever I told myself, that's what I did, knowing that I had things to do. So when I got home, I was like, I'm gonna take a nap, I'm gonna wake up, and I'm gonna do the last workout when I get up. I was so tired. When I woke up, it was 7 o'clock in the morning. So I'm like, dang. So I did my workout, and I still did the other 2 workouts, but it felt like I was cheating the system, right? Because that's not how it.
You're half-assing it.
Yeah, right. And when I do anything, I want to put my all into it, right? Because like you said, it's not about completing the challenge. It is about completing the challenge, but it's like, who are you throughout this? And for me, I say this to everybody, like, there's a David Goggins in everybody. You know what I'm saying?
There's an animal within all of us.
Everybody.
We just have to tap into it. Like that's back to what I was saying. Maybe I didn't say this, but the fact is I'm a beast, right? I'm a demon within, right? And I'm using this metaphorically. I'm a demon within. The thing about it is that we have to learn when to channel that demon within. Sometimes you got to do it with yourself, right? In your toughest times, if you're on a run and your feet hurt, sometimes you got to say, I'm gonna fucking kill this shit, right? You have to tap into that beast energy, that lower vibration, and strengthen yourself. That's why I say sometimes I wish I was depressed again, just so that I can now learn how to manipulate it and move through it. I want to be able to mastermind my depression instead of having that victim mentality, and then unlock that beast and use that depression to hit the levels that I probably can't hit now because I'm more zen the fuck out. Does it make sense?
It makes sense, but what I will say is this. I think that everybody, this is my philosophy,
Facts,
right?
good.
I feel like you are where you are for that time being, right? And
Absolutely.
so even getting up out of that, you transmuted, you used what you needed to get up out of that. Facts. Because you're here now, right? So for me, it's like I want to learn my lessons and I want to keep learning new lessons until these planes they don't want you to hear this. They don't want you to know. But we gonna give it to you. Boom. So with these lessons, right? It's like we learn these lessons. I'm a perfectionist, yes. I don't want to have to repeat anything because, like, by choice. I'm not going to sit here. Well, that's a lie. I've repeated the 75 by choice. So Jordan's looking at me because he says that I somehow, when I do these challenges, he sees it as, like, I'm trying to punish myself for something. But it's like, maybe it is true in the sense of I'm trying to lock down my frivolous ways and gain structure, because there's that quote, freedom or discipline is the highest sense of freedom. You know what I'm saying? Like, you cannot have freedom if you are not disciplined. You know what I'm saying? And I don't feel like I have truly implemented that in my life for long enough periods of time to say, like, oh, that's me, that's who I am. Because we're constantly changing, right? We step into these versions of ourselves that we see. If you want to be something and you see it, right, you have to still do the things that person would do, right? It's not even about, like, what do they call it, like when you're experiencing like you're faking it, right? I forget, there's a term for it, but it's like imposter syndrome, right? Mm-hmm. It's not that you're impersonating anybody. It's like you are implementing the steps to get you to where you want to be or where you say you want to be. You have to move way now.
You're emulating the future version of yourself is what you're saying.
Which is right now. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's right now. Now, yeah, like, you have to move. First of all, you don't have to do anything. But for me, in my life, like, I've seen, like, if I tell myself, like, this is who I am, right? And it may not appear to be that way in this current 3D experience, but if I know that, like, that's where I want to be, then it already is. And I'm going to do what that version of myself would be doing to get there. So, like, waking up early, working out, structuring my days, doing the shit that is required of me.
So then that makes me ask the question, and I ask this question to myself too. When you're not doing that, who you want to be? Like, that's my thing. Me being in my lazy stage right now, that's what I'm gonna say it is. My lazy stage. Is this not me? Is this not who I want to be? How do I master this and master that disciplined version of myself, that 5 a.m. version of me? Because that's the thing. When I'm sitting here and I talk about who I want to be, is that not who I already am? Or was I faking it when I was waking up at 5 a.m. going to the gym? And I was faking it when I was on keto, because this seems to be the most consistent form of me. If I look at my entire life, the most consistent form of me has been the lazy form of me.
But then I raise you this, right? So it's a comfort thing. So like there's set points. Like even when it comes to like, let's say you want to lose weight, right? A lot of people, they'll go on this journey and they'll get to a certain place. And then when they do nothing, they fall right back to their normal set weight. Or if you're trying to put on muscle, same thing. You stop working out, you go back to your set weight. It takes time to break that set mold, right? So like eventually after years of training and getting your body to a certain stance, to a certain state, you know, once you maintain that for a certain while, then that's your new set point, right? I think it's the same way with this. And I will say this, my philosophy or my current belief is that there are so many different versions of us at the same time. It's what you do in that moment that puts you in position to operate along that path. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, this is you. That is also you. But you get to decide who you want to be today. Every day is a new day.
Well, that's one thing I told you when I did that meditation, the quantum leaping, right? So the quantum leaping, I sat in a meditation for about an hour, went through this light tunnel. That's the best way I can explain it. And then all of my avatars appeared in front of me in a meditative state. So crazy. I don't know if anybody's ever gonna believe me, right?
Can you give more like?
It's just like my spirit went through this light tunnel, and when I appeared to where I was going for my avatars, there were multiple, like I want to say like 10 to maybe 15, right? As versions of me, and I looked at them. There's a in shape 6-pack nigga version of me. There's a scientific nerdy version of me, there's a rapper version of me, there's a full-time dad version of me, there's a version of me that works a regular job.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at these versions of me and I say, which one do I want to be? So a couple years ago when I first did this, I looked at the gym version of me. And he was in that motherfucker throwing weight around, tapping into that. And I became that. I chose that for the time. But a couple months ago, like I want to say like 6 months ago, I was like, this whole time I've been being this gym version of me. Like I'm in here like in the gym all the time, I'm doing all this, and I felt like I got the strongest I've ever been in my life, but I felt that I was lacking the spiritual side of me. So then I did the meditation again, same process. Go through the tunnel, all my avatars are there. And this time, it's so crazy because I felt like, in a sense, my avatars were like, pick me. Pick me to operate in. Like this is crazy. Like pick me. And this time, I would say the wise version of me, I linked up with. I said, all right, I don't care about being the muscular dude no more. I don't care about being the show off type of guy no more. Now I want to be the studier, the philosopher, the gain the information. What does he look like? And this avatar that I've seen is gonna sound crazy because as I'm talking, I'm like, now I see why I look the way I look right now, because this is what I picked. A philosopher, a long beard, let my hair go because I don't care about the image design. I mean, I do, I like being fly as fuck, but that's not my first priority. My first priority now is to gain knowledge. So when I pick that avatar, now I'm going through of shedding oh my God, this is unlocking in my brain. I'm going through shedding the process of being in the gym guy to being the philosopher. And if you think about that, I ain't been going to the gym. I ain't been waking up on time lately. I ain't been getting a shape up and trying to show my muscles off in the mirror right now. I ain't been doing that because the avatar. The whole time I'm thinking that this is something bad, but truly this is part of transcending into that avatar. transcending into the philosopher that I'm gonna call him, the philosopher.
That's dope.
So that's I don't know how to explain it. And like, some people don't think that this is real. Like, I've put people on this and they'll be like, so when does your reality? I'm like, bro, your reality shifts.
Yeah.
It's not like a video game. You don't just wake up and your mom is somebody else. You're an Asian man. Maybe that works for you, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the reality of how you are operating
Yeah.
and where you're operating from. So
That's just really, so I've never experienced that in that way. That's so dope to see, right? Like to have a physical representation of it, but I understand you on like a deep level. Like when it comes to, because I have seen myself in so many different lights, right? Depending on what I focus on, right? And that goes for anything. Like even when you train, like let's say you're training for, you know, muscles. What you eat matters. How you eat matters. How you train matters. If you're training to lose weight, same thing. If your focus in this world is to be sharp in the mind, you have to eat certain foods that are for your mind first. It's like how you navigate is it's like cause and effect, right? Like we kind of briefly spoke about this, but there are 12 universal laws that we all operate under. Whether you're aware of them or not, you are still operating under these laws, right? So it's like the law of cause and effect. For us, understanding that like you have to address the effect. I mean, you have to address the cause and not the effect, but most people are addressing the effect because that's what they see in their realm. But it's like if you want to change who you are, if you want to change the avatar you're in, you have to figure out the seeds that you've planted, what you've been doing, right? That's affecting the external version of who you are, internal, external, but what's showing up in your 3D. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like when I say you could be whatever you want to be, like shout out to Nas, for real, because you can really be whatever it is you want to be, and you're not too old, you're not too this, you're not too that. It's like these are the external pressures that people are putting on you because for whatever reason, I don't know the why, but I know that we see things how we believe, right? So like we are experiencing our insides, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
so if the man that thinks he can and the man that thinks he can't, they're both right. Like these cliches are really, they hit because it's true.
Well, I mean, if you think about the way that I like to put it is that everything is nothing and nothing is something and so on and so forth, right? The thing about it is that when we look at how other people's avatars are displayed in the world, how you view them, you think that if you got into a similar situation that you would look similar. And like they say, comparison is the killer of joy. So my being in shape isn't my friend Mike's way of being in shape, right? Like that's kind of the issue. Like I was talking with me and my wife the other day, and we always go through our pictures and we look, and we'll look at a picture and I was like, yo, you remember when we thought we were fat here? Mm-hmm. Then we'll scroll back and she'll be like, oh my God, I was so skinny at this time. And I was like, it's crazy because when you are, your image of being that is so fucked up because you're comparing it to someone else's like avatar. So a lot of times when we think that we're not, we already are. Because we had kind of like, we set this expectations for ourselves. And I always say expectations, you should have none. You should only have acceptance. So instead of expecting, oh, like I'm gonna be this guy is super in shape, you think that your six pack is gonna look like this. Mm-hmm. Or when I had dreads or when I had short hair, I thought I was gonna look like this with dreads and all these different things. But when you accomplish that, you truly never look like the way that it was in your head. So you think that you didn't manifest the reality that you asked for. I tell my wife all the time, everything that you wanted, you got. You wanted a husband, you wanted kids, you wanted a son and a daughter and a house and all these things, right? So you wanted all these things, but now that we're in them, just like I wanted a family, just like I wanted everything that I had, I wanted a son, I got everything. But sometimes we compare that thought in our head on how everything was gonna be so perfect. We're gonna have all this money and we're gonna be, doing this and traveling here and this and that. It's not to say that these things are impossible, but you have to realize that every single thing, every choice in life comes with a consequence, good or bad.
Right. Just emphasis on consequence is not a bad thing.
No, it's not.
Just the outcome of what you decide to do. It's karma.
That's fact. So you have to realize that if you manifest a big ass house, a big ass mansion, who gonna clean that motherfucker? Mm-hmm. Right? So now not only do you need to manifest a big house, you need to manifest the people to clean your house, the people to cut your grass.
But going to what you're saying, being specific, I feel like also knowing, like that's the thing. Like you think you know until you get what you thought you wanted, and you have to, so before you even continue to like see it, really see it, and what goes into that, what does that look like for you? I feel like with manifestation, right, or with seeing our vision through, it's like a feeling state, right? So it's like, what do you feel? What do you want to feel? For me, my whole thing is I want autonomy. I want freedom. I want the ability to move how I want to move. And with that, of course, it comes the nicer things, right? Like your safety, your security, all these things. But that feeling that I want, that feeling that I have, it's like you don't have to do anything. I have to catch myself when I say these things. You do not have to do anything. But from my experience, it's like, feeling, it's a feeling state, it's a knowing. And when we get lost in the material shit sometimes, right, like you were saying, like a big house, a fancy car, or this and that, I think that it is possible. I know it's possible. Abundance is everybody's birthright, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, when you get that, when you think that that's what you wanted, you're gonna find out whether or not it is. I can't tell you that that's what it is or that's what it's not, but this world is so much more than what we are indoctrinated to believe.
Success. We think that like the definition of success is always defined by what is glorified by the media. But then it's like Biggie says. He says more money, more problems. Have you ever got like a big lump sum of money and you thought you were up? You were like, I got this lump sum of money, so now I can save it. I can do this, I can do that. And then life comes, and then you have to take that lump sum to put it here, because that's just how it needs to happen, right? So we think about success. We think that once you hit success, it's a stopping point. I love bringing this up. It's the same thing with religion. We look at it as a stopping point, right? You go to church and you think that's it. I gotta just go to church every Sunday. I get money and that's it. I get $100,000, that's it. I get $1 million. I just need 1 million, God, please give me $1 million. Mm-hmm. But you don't realize that life comes with consequences. It comes with a lifestyle, right? You have to maintain a lifestyle. If you become this famous actor, actress, musician, whatever it is, basketball player, you have to maintain a lifestyle. You got to maintain a household. You become a celebrity, now you have to maintain security, mm-hmm. right?
With more power comes more responsibility.
Exactly, and that's the thing. A lot of us, we're trying to manifest things, but we're not prepared for it. We're mm-hmm. not prepared for, as religious people say, we're prepared for our blessings. Yeah, you want that red car, that red Lambo, this and that, but can you afford the insurance? Can you afford putting gas in it? What if your mama got sick? Can you afford to pay her bills for a couple months? Like these are all the things that we think about success. What does success mean? Success is bullshit. It's a matrix. It's a construct. To be success is based upon your perspective. For me, success for me is not to have to pay my bills. My bills is on autopilot. Success for me is to live in a fucking tiny home or RV mm-hmm. in the middle of some land and sleep in the grass whenever the fuck I want. Mm-hmm. That success to me is to not have a telephone. You're going to have to come to my house to experience me. You're not going to be able to call me on FaceTime. Success is to be free within the earth. So to be an animal, basically, if you think about it, to be in the open like an elephant, a lion, you know what I'm saying? That's what we think free is, but there's still responsibilities and consequences that come with it. Mosquitoes. Sometimes it's gonna be dirty. Sometimes it might be too cold. Sometimes I might have a headache because it's too hot outside. So like there's consequences with everything. But when we talk about manifestation and we talk about success, we have a fucked up way of thinking about it. A lot of times you're already living a successful life in comparison to someone else. Someone can look at my life and be like, yo, Tuesday, he's successful. But I might look at your life and be like, yo, I'm trying to be like you. Like, that's the issue. Everyone does it. Instead, back to what I was saying before, strip yourself down of everything. Figure out what you truly are. Figure out what true success is. I have friends who are successful financially, mm-hmm. but then I'm around them and they're miserable as fuck. Mm-hmm. Some of them drink every day. Some of them poison their bodies. Some of them poison their kids by giving them McDonald's. Some of them don't know their kids. All these different things. So at that point, success is what? It's a matrix. It's a fake construct. So.
Again, I agree with a lot that you just said.
Sorry, I'm rambling.
No, it's not rambling. This is real. This is real life.
Is it?
Reality. This is my real life right now. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Like, but I do want to say this, right? So there's power in the tongue, right? We know this. Words are so powerful. We talked about this on your podcast. Words are spells. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a lot of times I do feel like we are meant to, and call it delusional, call it whatever, but consequences, yes, there's a consequence to everything. But again, there's no good, there's no bad. It's just the outcome of the choices that you make, right? So it's like, I do believe that we can live in this blissful state, right? So it's like, even in a situation where, like, okay, suffering may exist, but we transcend the actual suffering, right? You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm in the journey of trying to get to the point of becoming the person that can experience pain for what it is, but not succumb to it, right? So it's like, I'm being very careful, because it's also like, I'm in the process of, this is like, you're seeing me walk in my testament. You're seeing me do what I say I'm gonna do, and as it unfolds, you're watching it as I watch it.
You're already doing it.
I'm already doing it. But these are the steps in between, right? But I already know what's up. But because I'm like in that tier where it's like, we'll call it a breakthrough. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I can see what it is, but I'm still like right here. Does that make sense? Like, I'm here and I can see what it is. And I know that I am already there and I'm on my way to there. But it's like, a lot of times you have to, it's interesting to say, because it's like, I want to be very careful with what I'm saying. Does this ever happen to you, where it's
absolutely,
like
all the time, because you know what you want to say spiritually, but in reality, it may not be the right words to say, because it's like a disconnect in a sense. You don't want to say the wrong things because you're manifesting something.
Right.
So you're in a rough space. But as I was saying to my wife a couple of days ago, you have to speak in future tense, right? But
in order to get my message across that I'm trying to get across, it's like, sometimes you gotta shut the fuck up, is what I'm learning. Like, sometimes you just have to be quiet. But what I'm saying is the same thing that I have said before, is I am already I'm where I need to be at all times.
Absolutely.
Period, point blank. And so you're seeing the unfolding of this journey, this process with me. A lot of times people do not listen, or they cannot hear, I won't even say advice, but words from someone who they don't like. You know what I'm saying? You're not in a better position than me.
So
in this materialistic world.
Yeah.
So how can you give me advice? But it's like, even going back to what we were saying, like, woke does not mean broke. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm in the process of securing the bag, apart from just financially, like this life, like the life that I choose to live and just continue to enjoy. You know what I'm saying?
What is that? So that's when you say this, I ask this for myself when I talk. Like, I look at it, a lot of times I operate like, my avatar, like the way I'm talking right now, I'm already controlling it the way that I'm speaking. So I already knew what I was gonna say. But a lot of times when I speak, I look at it as like, I already put the code in, right? Like, imagine playing a video game. I'm playing a video game and I'm controlling the character. I already put the input. So I already know what I'm gonna do.
The output is.
I already know what the output is. In my head, I already know what it looks like. I'm a creative, so a lot of times I know what it looks like. I know like the feeling of it. So you kind of have to, like, back to what you said, you have to operate kind of like, I know I'm already in the journey. The journey is, I'm already doing it. I'm already working into what I want. You know what you want. The highest form of yourself, your spiritual control, your higher consciousness knows what you want.
100%.
Just back to what you were saying, is like, you don't like taking the answers from other people, but a lot of times you already know the answers.
Yeah.
I sat with myself one day in meditation, and it's so crazy how, like, the simple things around us unlock so much. So sitting in meditation again, and the first thing meditation said to me is like, yo, you want to eat healthy, you got to eat food that is shaped like the earth. And I was like, what the fuck you mean shaped like the earth? And it was like, everything that is natural to survive off of the earth is shaped like an earth. It comes from the earth and it's shaped like an earth, right? Then it was like, so the first thing I sat and I was like, what's shaped like the earth? Then I thought about an orange, and then I broke up an orange, just meditation, metaphorically in my head while I'm doing this. Broke in an orange. What does an orange look like? It looks like your lungs. Maybe it has a connection to your breathing, right? Okay, it's shaped like a sphere. Then I went deeper. Then I started thinking about all the vegetables. Then it was like the earth is how much percentage of water?
What they say, 70?
70, 80, right? The human body is how much percent of water?
80.
So 70 or 80% of what you're supposed to be consuming should be water. Not, it doesn't, I don't give a fuck if it's like fruit water, it doesn't matter. But what you're consuming, putting in your body, should be water. And I was like, how the fuck do I know this is true? Like, why are you telling me this? And then I started putting it to the test, right? I started paying attention to what I was putting in my body, drinking coconut water. If I drink a shit ton of coconut water, I feel like I'm good. Drink watermelon water or juice or whatever, feel good. Soon as I put something dense in my body, I'm stuck. I'm dense. So a lot of time, our higher self has so much knowledge to unlock, but we don't pay attention to it. We think that we're doing bad when we're by ourselves. You think that you're struggling when you don't have any money. You think that you're struggling when, your relationship isn't working out. You think that you're doing so bad. You feel bad about yourself, then you blame the world, and then you blame yourself. But we don't realize that that is an opportunity to reconnect with the controller of the avatar, that God. Right? I look at God as like electricity in a house, and all of us are plugs or an outlet, or you're a light, right? So God powers everything in your house, right? The source, it powers everything in your house. Every time you connect something to it, it gives it life, it lights up. We're just a lamp. Sometimes you have to break your light bulb and then reconnect the new one. Same thing.
What did Big Sean say? Disconnect to reconnect. Like, it's all like artists, these people are saying things that are gonna hit you when you're meant to like receive it. You know
Small
what I'm saying?
sentence. That's all it takes. But if you have that victim mentality, you're gonna miss out on the lesson that you need to learn, and you're gonna be stuck in that fucking bullshit. And that's why with like where I'm at, I don't wanna sit in this forever. So I have to sit with it and learn it, because I'm tired of this being my consistent state. The state of low vibrational, eating unhealthy, depressed for some reason, grieving. I'm tired of accepting that as my reality. So now I say, I'm gonna choose to sit in it this time. It's gonna be my choice. I'm gonna choose to be ugly. I'm gonna choose to eat unhealthy. I'm gonna choose, and I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm gonna look myself in the mirror when my face is bloated, and I'm gonna say, it feel good, don't it? It feel good, right?
See, here's where it gets where we kind of defer, right? So because the goal is to optimize and maximize while we're here, it's like there comes with more power comes the responsibility, right? So it's like, because we know, or we have experimented with what makes us feel good, what allows our bodies to operate at its highest. It's like, if you know better, then you do better.
Facts.
Or you shouldn't want to do anything. But for me, if I know better, like innately, I'm going to want to do better. It doesn't make it easier to do better. But there is beauty in being in a place where you don't necessarily want to be, but understanding that like everything is with purpose, everything's with reason. Like being able to be at the place where you can observe your thoughts and see what it is. For me, I can't just, I'm always wanting to be better, you know what I'm saying? And not that there's a good or a bad or a better or worse, but for me, like, I want to operate in what feels the best, you know what I'm saying? So for me, that looks like eating right, that looks like waking up early, that looks like working out, that looks like doing the shit that majority of people don't do, because I don't want to live a mundane lifestyle. I don't want to be like everybody else, because I have been like everybody else, you know what I'm saying? So it's like knowing that and yeah, we can all always fall to it again, but it's like knowing that I would never put myself there like intentionally. Like, yeah, of course, if I land there, it's a lesson to be learned.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm not looking at myself like, yeah, you fat motherfucker, like, you
But-
know what
but
I'm
the
saying? You
thing
look
about it
good,
is,
you
like-
don't, get in the gym.
But think about how empowering that is like, instead of having that why me, not saying you do, but instead of having that why me mentality and say, nah, motherfucker, you chose me. You chose me for a reason. Like I said, leading is leading from the front. You gotta lead by example. So I have to own up to this and say the reason why I can be this out of shape and this and that, because I can show you what my transformation is going to become. I already know what it is. I've been it. I can show you so many different stages of my in shapeness or eating healthiness. I can show you multiple stages of it. But the fact is that the most consistent has been this, and this time I'm in control of this motherfucker. I'm not in a victim. If I really want to be in shape, it's nothing. I can do it. I've done it.
Yeah.
So many times. So at that point, it's easy. It's easy for you. You know what you need to do.
It's the same thing, input, output. You know
It's
what I'm saying?
it's
Like,
so easy. Just you chose
simple.
you
It's simple.
chose though to put the 75 hard to the side. You made that choice. Even though you feel like, oh, I broke the challenge, but you made that decision. It's a great decision.
But can I also,
Yeah.
going back to that, like with the 75 hard, putting it to the side, I didn't put it to, I broke it, right? But I broke it because even leading up to that part, like I saw that in the beginning of the challenge, I was so much more like diligent, right? So much more specific. Like first 20 days, I was in it. And then life gets busy as it does. And I was still completing the challenge. I wasn't half-assing. I was still doing the challenge, but slowly, it was getting like lighter and lighter. I was waiting a little bit later to do my last workout when I said I wanted to be done my last workout at 6. You know what I'm saying? Then we get to day 27 when it's way past 6. I haven't done my second workout because I've already pushed back lightly in the past. That this huge pushback was like not even a huge pushback anymore. So you know what I'm saying? It's like the continuously cheating yourself. You will cheat yourself completely.
Yeah, then you back in that stage, and that's why I said, like for me, I want to sit in. This is 6 months after my 75 hard. The last way like I felt good about myself, like I was like, man, I feel really good, was when I was doing 75 hard, like physically. But now I'm sitting with it, and I'm like, okay, that 75 hard stage of me is coming back. It may not be the 75 hard. It might just be
A challenge for discipline or
just
structure.
life. Just life, accepting that as my reality now, eating healthily, studying and reading more books, but it's okay that I'm here in this point right now. It's okay. You can't beat yourself up. I'm not saying like don't empower yourself. We empower ourselves differently. But enjoy your truth. Enjoy your journey, man. It feels good to be at the bottom and then make it to the top. It always feels good. Anytime I do Stone Mountain, it feels good at the bottom and it feels good at the top. Every single time. But sometimes in between, it hurts. My feet hurt. I get a little tired. But as soon as I'm at the top, I'm like, it's just a breeze. It feels good. I did it. I'm good. And I'm going to do it again.
Yeah.
So at that point, that's the journey. The journey is all of that. You're already being that being. You're already in shape. You're already eating healthy. You just have to continue the process. Don't stop.
Yeah.
When you quit, that's when you fail.
And honestly, the journey wouldn't be exciting if you there would be no faith either. If you were here now and I want to have $1 million and then boom, you have $1 million. There was nothing that happened in the between time. Like a lot of us think that it would be so great if it just magically like appeared in our lives. But like you said, when you manifest things, you're not at the place where you can maintain it, right? So it's like you have to be that person, right, that does the things to continuously enjoy what you say you want to enjoy. And I want to reference this biblical story.
Let's do it.
And I always, like, God knows my heart. It's not blasphemy, but this is like as best as I can remember.
If anybody thinks it's
right?
blasphemy,
I just got to say it. Make sure we good. So
you good. You good. God knows your intention.
God knows my intention.
That's
and that's
it.
the thing. Intention. Oh, and deep, yeah, moving intent always. But okay, so there's this parable about being able to, like, we think we want more, right? Like, we have maybe 2 cents and we don't know how to manage our life with that 2 cents. So we think like if more money would solve the problems. But honestly, if you don't know how to budget with what you have right now, with all this excess money, you're not going to know how to budget with that too, and you will squander that. You know what I'm saying? So it's a matter of becoming that person still.
But that's because a lot of us, we all we know is temporary gratification. When we come from the struggle, we think that when we get money, we're supposed to buy our kids Jordans. I don't do that shit. I don't buy my kids Jordans. You know why? Because they don't give a fuck about them. Like, temporary gratification, we continue to think that once we get into this opportunity or this place in our life, that now everything's good. No, what the fuck? Like, no, like, that's not it. Just because you got money don't mean you gotta buy everybody shoes. Like that's like, these are structures that I fucking hate, because then you end up with nothing. Your temporary gratification was like metaphorically, it was like having sex with this bad junk, but there was no type of relationship or anything like that. So that's kind of my theory about it. Like, when it came to women that I would date, and I dated a lot of women. I used to be a hoe, fuck it, right? But what I realized is that the women that everybody wanted, the IG models, the video models, those type of girls, when I would fuck with them, they were dense. They didn't have understanding of life, but not only that, nothing was ever established. It was easy, it was quick. I got you, you in my bed, boom, we do it. Next thing you know, on to the next, right? Anything that is easy never lasts. I never lasted in any of those relationships with those quote on, what society says, bad bitches. But therefore, with my wife, we established a friendship. My wife, like, we didn't have sex the first day we met. It was just a conversation. It was a different, like, since the first day I met her, I always knew, like, this is gonna be my, like, this is her. I knew it. I didn't understand it, right? We had to wait like damn near 5 years for us to actually be together, because she was my side chick and this, like, all this bullshit. But when you look at the structure and the story of it, you realize that all those temporary bad bitches, it never lasts. There was nothing there. It was too easy. With my wife, me and her been through shit. We got through shit together. This is my soulmate, because I realized that the things that are worth it are not things that are easy. They're things that are diamonds in the rough. Does that make sense? So a lot of times we look at our relationships, we look at all the things that we want. We want the temporary gratification version of it. We want the rental for the weekend. Man, I just got all this tax money, so I'm gonna go get the Lambo. But then in 6 months, back to eating on paper plates, back to, you know what I'm saying? Like, all this temporary, you know, like, it just doesn't make sense. So a lot of times we want those blessings, we want all that shit, but we don't want to put the work in. You got to put the work in. You got to really, you got to really farm this motherfucker.
And understand that balance, man. Just as far as the pendulum swings to the left, it's going to swing to the right. So it's like really learning how to navigate in the in-between. You know what I'm saying? Like, because that's inevitable. Like, this life, like you said, like, there's structure. There's structure, whether or not we are aware of it or not, it is there. When we are operating in our low, when we are operating in our high, there is a such thing as there's a perfect medium. There's a perfect, you know, there's
Just
a perfect
ride the
nothing,
wave.
but there's a way that aligns with you, right? And figuring out, you know, how to operate in that most consistently is what I'm in the journey of.
Just ride the wave, right? On Tuesday Night Swim, you just gotta ride the wave. You just have to enjoy that you're a part of, like, that's why, like, I go through tough things. I'm always depressed, right? But I don't choose to be it no more. I don't choose that to be my identity.
But do you think, I'm sorry to
Go
cut
ahead,
you
go
off,
ahead.
but like, just because we know how powerful words are, you even saying like, I'm always depressed, right? Not to take away from you
Absolutely.
being depressed, but feeding into that. Like, it's just gonna continue
And that's
to
why I
feed into.
choose when I'm using it, right? Even though I'm using it, I know how back to intentions. I don't look in my mirror and be like, I'm still depressed. I don't get on the internet and be like, I'm depressed. I'm depressed, but I don't choose my depression, which means I'm affected by my trauma. When I'm saying these words so that you have understanding and overstanding, and what did Dr. B say, quantum standing or some shit like that? Eco standing. He said some shit on that episode. I was like, that shit fire, right? But once you realize this, it's a choice. It all is a choice. It's a choice how we grieve. You have to make the choice. When you are operating as your higher conscious, you have to make a choice. I'm not choosing to be depressed anymore. Mm-hmm. I'm choosing to be happy over one simple thing at a time. Like I said, I've died before. And once I've dealt with death, I realize I don't have hands when I die. I'm in the ocean. I'm a raindrop in the ocean. I'm boundless. I don't have anything. I'm not in a container no more, right? So at that point, a very simple understanding for me to be happy and thankful is that I have hands. I have eyes. Mm-hmm. Even if I don't have all the things that I want, that I feel that would deem me successful or living the perfect life, I have enough. Mm-hmm. Having hands, I'm telling you, like, having hands it's so serious. Mm-hmm. You can feel your loved one. You can feel the grass. You can feel your face, your hair. Like, you can feel. When you die, your just energy is beautiful, yes. But it's not this experience. Mm-hmm. So finding happiness, giving gratitude for the simple things in life, if you can understand that, if you can quantum stand that, mm-hmm. right, then you will be happy. You just be blissful as fuck. I promise you, like, we just have to learn and choose the simple things. I say it all the time to my kids, like, yo, y'all should just be happy that you get to experience each other. I no longer want to grieve about death. I'm going to celebrate it. I'm going to celebrate it, and I'm going to say, I'm thankful that I got to experience this person, because these experiences that I shared, they're one of a kind. This experience right now, even if we don't talk after this, we both got to experience this, and that is the most beautiful thing. So when my time or your time is over, if there's only one memory that we have, it was something that was beautiful. Mm-hmm. It was something that we experienced together. Same thing, even with this guy, even, like, so on and so forth. Like, we overthink it. We overthink our fucking life. Like, all we have to do is just be simply happy that you exist. Purpose, like, you want this purpose. You want this purpose to be God, or be this rich man, or be that. Fuck that. Your purpose, a simple human purpose, is to exist. Everything after that is just a plus.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just a plus, and at that point, be thankful.
But like you said, I 100% agree. Gratitude, and it's like, it's not too. When you experience gratitude and you live in gratitude, you receive more of what it is that makes you feel that way. And I'm not saying to be grateful to have more, but to be grateful for where you're at, and that's just inevitably a factor.
Don't get complacent. That's the thing. We think that just because we have what we want, that we have to be complacent. There's a stopping point. Back to what we were saying.
Stopping point.
There's always room for learning. All right. So, anyways, and lastly, complacency, right? We think that we get to these places in our life. We think that when you complete that 75 hard, that's a level of complacency. We think that when we graduate from colleges, we think that when we get the job, we think that these are like completion points. But we have to realize these are stepping stools to the overall bigger journey, the overall bigger purpose. The bigger purpose is to experience, mm-hmm. and to grow with every experience, mm-hmm. not to just hold on to it. A lot of us, based upon our indoctrination and our parents, we think that everything is a stopping point. We think that everything is a stopping point. Like I say it all the time, to understand God. That's my overall thing. My journey is to learn God. I just want to be one and understand God. That's just where I'm at. I don't care about all the constructs. I don't care. In order to do that, you have to go beyond belief. Mm-hmm. You have to go beyond the structure, the church, the pastor, the preacher, the Bible, all of it. Because the only way to truly be one with your journey is to be one with the Creator. And the only way you can experience that is through yourself, through you. Don't settle for complacency. Seek more understanding. Seek more upon your journey.
And that's not to say, I just have to insert, it's not
Absolutely.
to say that
It's not bad.
with anything, right? So
Facts.
there's truth, you can find truth in so many things. In Christianity, all the parables, all the
Absolutely.
lessons, like,
Absolutely.
but making sure that you don't just become so almost like paralyzed by it. To
Don't
where you
accept
can't-
somebody's word as bond.
Yeah.
Like every human is flawed. So at that point, there's still room to grow. That doesn't mean these people are bad people. Just allow yourself to grow. Grow, experience it all. Listen, back to what we said about that woke shit. Even though I may not agree with those images and how people look, I still fuck with other things that they're saying,
Facts.
other things that they're doing.
Facts.
I just be like, yo, y'all could do some fly shit. You know, we could collab and I get y'all on some fits that look more, you know what I'm saying? Dope, creative. And not saying they're not.
More of like a individualistic, because it's cool if that's how, but it doesn't. It's
Facts.
not a one thing for everybody, and that's what it. That's my not issue with it, but like, you know, it'd be making me feel a type of way as well, because it's like it's not just one thing. We are here to experience, and I want to say this, and this will be the last thing, Jordan, for real. With experience, right? Like, we're here to experience. So it's like the journey. Everything that we do is huge. You know what I'm saying? Like, just being here, just hanging out, just talking. Like, this is a piece of the movie, right? But in its entirety, it's a movie in itself. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything matters, and it doesn't. You know what I'm saying? But everything truly matters. If you are intentional about your day-to-day, that's what I wanted to say. I had to reel it in somehow. Deepak, I do this meditation, right? It's a guided meditation sometimes. And before the meditation starts, he'll reference your breathing. So like when you inhale, when you exhale, then he says, try to inhale and hold that, right? It evokes this kind of like suffocation feeling, right? Because breath is constant. In order to live, you have to breathe, and it's a continuous flow. Now, in life, when you experience certain things, when you try to hold on to the happy, right, you're still kind of invoking that suffocation feeling, because you cannot hold on to anything, because we are constantly living, right? It is always the past.
Everything is
the
now.
past,
Facts.
right? So you can't hold on to anything, whether it be joy or grief, whatever it is. And we as humans, with this, you know, faculty, our brain wants to rewind and replay the sad or the happy, the things that have triggered us. You know what I'm saying? But like, being able to consciously exist in the present is a gift, and it's a learning thing. It's a day-by-day learning thing, you know? So yeah.
Absolutely. On that closing, I would say this, man. And I say this from a deep, vibrational, empathetic place, right? Just love. It's like we hear all the bad things in the world, and I can sit with it, but love through it. Love everyone. It doesn't matter what they look like. There's something that we can gain from each other. It doesn't matter what your skin is. It doesn't matter what your religious beliefs is. I don't care. I love you, and I think that if we can just learn to love, I think that we can understand more about God in this experience. So,
Just another perspective.
facts.
I love it. And Tuesday, this has been a beautiful camp out, for real. I close out all my camp outs with a high five. So I think we're kind of far. So I'm gonna reel in. I'm gonna do like this. I'm gonna bring it in right here.
So okay.
Just you wanna run it back?
No, we can do that. We can do it again. All right, cool.
All right, appreciate you so much.